My siblings forged a will to steal Grandpa's lake house, so I donated the development rights to a bat sanctuary. I walked into the cabin at 6 p.m. and saw my brother, Todd, using Grandpa's antique fly-tying desk as a coaster for his cheap beer. He smiled, kicking his muddy boots up onto the velvet armchair Grandpa had sat in every Sunday for 40 years. "Pack your stuff, Jake," Todd said, popping a pretzel into his mouth. "The developer is coming tomorrow at 9 a.m. for the walkthrough. We need this place broom clean. Get your feet off the chair," I whispered, my voice trembling with a mixture of grief and pure, white-hot rage. "Relax," my sister Lisa chimed in from the kitchen. She was throwing Grandpa's hand-carved decoys into a trash bag. The sound of the wood clattering together made my stomach turn. "It's just old junk. The developer is going to bulldoze the cabin anyway. They're putting up 12 luxury condos. We're going to be rich, Jake. Stop being so sentimental." "Grandpa left this place to me," I said, stepping forward. "He told me. I took care of him for 5 years while you two were partying in the city." "Well," Todd laughed, pulling a crumpled paper from his pocket. "Turns out Grandpa wrote a new will. We found it in his sock drawer. Amazing, right? It leaves everything to the three of us equally. And since majority rules, we voted to sell." I looked at the paper. It was a photocopy. The signature looked shaky, too shaky. But I didn't have the money for a forensic lawyer and they knew it. They were steamrolling me. They were erasing 70 years of family history for a quick payout. I stormed out onto the porch and stared at the lake. The sun was setting, casting a blood-red light over the water. I heard the distinct, high-pitched squeak of the bats flying out of the old barn behind the cabin. Grandpa loved those bats. He called them his mosquito patrol. I clenched the railing until a splinter dug into my palm. I couldn't stop the sale. The closing was scheduled for Friday at 2 p.m. That's when the real bombshell dropped. I was reviewing the new will Todd had gloated about. While it transferred ownership on Friday, it left me as the sole executor of the estate until the moment of transfer. For the next 48 hours, I had full legal authority to manage the property's assets. I didn't sleep. I drove into town at 8 a.m. and walked into the office of the Regional Land Trust. "I want to execute a conservation easement," I told the officer. "Immediately." "That usually takes weeks," the woman said. "I have the survey," I said, slamming the thick folder onto her desk. "I have the wildlife report proving the barn is a critical habitat for the Indiana bat, and I am the executor. I want to donate the development rights of this land to the trust, in perpetuity." She looked at the documents. She looked at me. "If you do this, sir, no one can ever build on this land. No condos, no roads, no subdivision. It stays a forest forever." "Where do I sign?" I asked. I spent the next day filing the paperwork with the county clerk. It was finalized at 11 a.m. on Friday. At 2 p.m., the developer, a slick guy named Mr. Sterling, rolled up in a Porsche. Todd and Lisa were waiting on the porch, grinning like hyenas. "Here's the check," Sterling announced, opening his briefcase. $3 million, clean deal." Todd reached for it, his eyes practically bulging. "One small thing," I said, leaning against the doorframe sipping a lemonade. "You might want to check the title search one last time. There was an update this morning." Sterling frowned. He called his lawyer. I watched the color drain from Sterling's face. It was beautiful. He went from tan to a sickly shade of gray in 10 seconds. "You did what?" Sterling screamed into his phone. He looked at me with murder in his eyes. "You put an easement on the land." "What's going on?" Lisa asked, her smile faltering. "He tanked the value," Sterling yelled, spit flying. "I can't build condos. I can't even build a shed. This land is worthless to me. It's just trees and bats." Sterling slammed his briefcase shut and got back in his car. "Deal's off. I'm not buying a nature preserve." Todd turned to me, his face purple. You idiot, you cost us millions." "I saved Grandpa's cabin," I said, taking another sip of lemonade. "And the bats. Hope you guys like camping because that's all this land is good for now. They are currently trying to sue me, but the easement is ironclad. The cabin still stands, and every evening at dusk, I watch the bats fly, knowing they and the land are safe forever. So, am I the monster for costing my greedy siblings a fortune? Or did I just honor the only wish my grandfather actually had?"